Greek mythology is full of magical weapons that held great power, used by mortals and immortals alike. Many of these weapons were creative and unique, often imbuing their wielder with powers that were quite astonishing. In this video, we're going to look at 10 legendary weapons of Greek mythology and how they were used against opponents. Number 10. Zeus's Thunderbolt. Zeus's Thunderbolt was an actual weapon, not just lightning and thunder that he generated out of his hands. It was given to him by the Cyclopes after he freed them by killing his own father, the Cyclopes' jailer, Cronus. Zeus's Thunderbolt was without doubt the most powerful weapon in all of Greek mythology. It allowed Zeus to shoot out unstoppable thunderbolts that could destroy and kill everything in its path. It was the thunderbolt that helped him kill the giant serpent Typhon, showing that he would overcome anything trying to undermine him. Zeus used his thunderbolt to maintain an unchallenged rule over the Greek pantheon and the rest of the world, and, according to Greek myths, rules Olympus with it to this day. Number 9. Poseidon's Trident. Poseidon's trident is possibly the second most popular weapon in Greek mythology, which is fitting given that Poseidon, the god of the sea, is the second most powerful deity in the Greek pantheon. The magical three-pronged spear was modeled after standard fishing tridents which ancient Greek fishermen used to spear fish. However, Poseidon's trident was no ordinary fishing tool. It was created by the blacksmith god Hephaestus with help from the Cyclopes. Poseidon was able to generate giant tsunami waves that could sink large armadas of ships or flood entire islands simply by slamming the trident into the ground. The weapon could also cause earthquakes or pierce any shield or armor. Number 8. Hades' Bident. Hades' Bident, or Hades' pitchfork, isn't all that powerful in Greek mythology, but it has had one of the strongest influences on other ancient religions. Many of the underworld gods, devils, or demons in other cultures also carry around bidents to torture the lost souls in their care. This may have been inspired by Hades. The biggest indication that Hades' Bident is the original devil's pitchfork comes from the Greek tragedy Hercules Furens by Seneca. In it, Seneca describes Hades as using a bident called Dis in Roman or Ploton in Greek. The god of the underworld used the weapon to successfully drive Hercules out of the underworld. It's interesting to note that the weapons of the three brothers Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades each had varying numbers of points. Zeus's Thunderbolt has a single point, Hades' Bident has 2, and Poseidon's has 3. Coincidence? Number 7. The Aegis. Another powerful weapon crafted by Hephaestus, the Aegis is technically a shield, but it was also used as a weapon. According to Greek myths, the Aegis is made of polished brass and is also referred to as a mirror. The Aegis didn't belong to any one god. It was used by several different gods, the most famous being Zeus himself, his daughter and goddess of war Athena, as well as the hero Perseus. However, it's Perseus's use of the Aegis which became legendary as he used it in his fight against Medusa. After Perseus had killed and beheaded Medusa, her head was forged onto the Aegis to make it even more powerful. Which brings us to our next weapon. Number 6. Medusa's Head. You might be wondering, how did a head get onto a list of weapons? While not technically a tool like many of the other weapons on this list, Medusa's head and her hair of snakes were used as a weapon not only by Medusa herself, but also by others after her death. Medusa was cursed to turn everyone who met her gaze into stone, and her head retained that curse even after Perseus beheaded her. After his victory, Perseus gave the Aegis and Medusa's head to Athena and the war goddess forged the two items together, turning them into an even more formidable weapon. Number 5. Apollo's Bow. Apollo is a god of many things: healing, diseases, prophecy, truth, dance and music, but also of archery. As such, he was almost always depicted carrying a golden bow and a quiver of silver arrows. One of the biggest feats Apollo was able to achieve with his golden bow was to kill the serpent dragon Bident, the nurse of the giant serpent Typhon that Zeus had killed with his thunderbolt. It's worth noting that, while this may look like a lesser feat than Zeus's, Apollo was said to have still been just a child when he shot and killed Python. Number 4. Cronus' Scythe. The Scythe of Cronus only appears in one myth, but it's one of the most important myths of Greek mythology, as it establishes the foundation for the eventual takeover by the Olympians. Cronus was the son of Gaia and Uranus, the earth and the sky. Uranus, who had grown cruel and overbearing, had imprisoned Gaia's children, the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, in Tartarus. Angry and wishing to free her children, Gaia gave Cronus a powerful scythe to castrate Uranus with and to depose him. Cronus did so with ease and soon replaced Uranus as a ruler of all Greek gods. But then he betrayed his mother. He didn't free Gaia's other children, for which she cursed him to one day be deposed by one of his own children. That child ended up being Zeus, the current king of the Greek gods, who defeated Cronus and threw him into Tartarus. Ironically, Gaia then resented Zeus for mistreating Cronus and the rest of the Titans and sent Typhon to avenge him, but Typhon failed. As for Cronus' scythe, it's either in Tartarus together with its owner or is lost somewhere on Earth. Number 3. Eros' Bow. Eros was the Greek god of love and sex, and the inspiration for today's version of Cupid. Some myths describe him as the son of the goddess of love Aphrodite and the god of war Ares, while other myths claim Eros was an ancient primordial god. Whatever the case, Eros' most famous possession was his bow, a weapon that he used to make love, not war. The bow was sometimes said to generate its own arrows or to shoot a single arrow that then returned to Eros. Either way, a common misconception is that Eros' arrows were used only to make people love somebody. They could do that, of course, but they could also force people to hate the first person they saw after being shot too. Number 2. Heracles' Bow. The final bow on this list was carried by the demigod Heracles, Hercules in Roman mythology. As the Greek hero was gifted with superhuman strength, his bow was wound up so powerfully that very few others were strong enough to fire arrows with it. And if it wasn't enough that Heracles' bow was as powerful as a ballista, the arrows fired from it were also tipped in the Hydra's poison, the multi-headed dragon Heracles had killed as one of his 12 labors. Heracles used his bow to slay the Stymphalian man-eating birds that were terrorizing northern Arcadia. After Hercules' eventual death, the bow was given to Hercules' friend Philoctetes, who was also charged with lighting Heracles' funeral pyre. The bow and arrows were later used in the Trojan War to help the Greeks conquer Troy. Number 1. Trickery. Okay, is trickery really a weapon? You be the judge. Trickery is a mental warfare, where a person outsmarts their opponent. In Greek mythology, such trickery was often used as a powerful weapon by gods, immortals, and mortals. However, the most famous example of trickery in Greek mythology is the Trojan horse. A crafty plan devised by Odysseus, who fought on the Greek side, the Trojan horse was a huge wooden horse given as a gift to the Trojans. When the Trojans saw the horse, they thought it was a peace offering by the Greeks and an admission of defeat. Delighted, they took the horse within the gates of the city. But alas, they didn't realize that there were a number of Greeks hiding inside the wooden horse. When it was dark, the Greeks came out of the horse, opened the gates of the city, and let the rest of the army in. After 10 years, Troy was finally conquered. Not by any magical weapon, but by crafty thinking and plain old trickery. If you'd like to watch similar videos about mythology, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. Don't forget to click the notification button as well, so that we can let you know when new videos and updates become available. Thanks for watching.